to Lisa's more than once. "You think you're a tough guy talking to your girl like that?" Now, the crowd, which had closed in so much that Lisa hadn't been able to move, backed up real fast. Just as Hector suspected, there was absolutely no fighting back from her boyfriend. Hector lifted the guy's bloodied face away from the lockers and turned him to face his stunned friends. "You look like such a tough guy now?" None of them said anything, and not one of them so much as stepped up to try and help her boyfriend either. Hector threw him against the locker, this time letting him go. "Get in my face, tough guy!" He took a step closer to the guy. Seeing the guy brace himself only pissed Hector off more. "Or is that something you only do to girls, you fucking pussy?" Luckily for the guy, in the next instant, Hector himself was pushed up against the lockers by school security, as was Lisa's boyfriend. They were both hauled into the dean's office. As much as it sucked, since he knew this was grounds for suspension, Hector had a feeling his brother, Abel, would go easy on him for this one. All Hector would have to do is defy his brother to stand there and watch a guy get in a girl's face the way this asshole had, and not do anything about it. Months later. By the time Hector looked up, Vanessa was too close for him to tell his friend AJ to be cool. The huge mole that covered half of her cheek had always been a jaw for cruel jokes, and AJ had one of the biggest mouths in school. "Morning, Spot." AJ waved at Vanessa, who after all these years had gotten pretty good about playing it off like she didn't care. She ignored him and kept walking past them. Hector shoved AJ as they reached the top of the stairs to their school entrance. "Why do you have to be such an asshole?" AJ laughed. "What? That's what everyone calls her." Before Hector could respond, a commotion by the front entrance caught their attention. "Check out Nerd Boy's toy robot." Two of Hector's other friends, Raymond and Theo, were playing keep away from Walter, a heavy-set, awkward guy who was in a few of his AP classes, and someone they'd been picking on forever. Walter tried in vain to get it back. Walter's eyes met Hector's for a moment. In class, the guy was nice enough, even on the funny side, but Hector didn't talk to him outside of class. Not that Hector wouldn't if Walter ever attempted to. He just seemed to disappear in between classes. This, no doubt, was probably the reason. The guy was overweight, hadn't a fashion clue, and was a social disaster. He may as well have a kick-me note permanently posted on his back. But Hector remembered hearing about the impressive chemical-smelling robot Walter had built for the science fair earlier that year, which not only won first prize in the district, but had qualified to enter the national event in a few weeks. Holding up his hands and laughing wickedly, AJ caught the toy robot Theo tossed him. Jeez, Hector's brother Abel was right. Maybe Hector did need to get some new friends. AJ motioned to Hector, about to toss the robot his way, but Hector frowned, shaking his head. He was about to tell them to give it back to Walter when he felt a soft tug on his arm. He turned to see Lisa standing there, smiling at him. Her pretty brown eyes sparkled, making him forget all about Walter.
"I wasn't even going to come today because I figured there was no need to."
She bit her lip, glancing away for a second, then looked back in his eyes.
"But I couldn't leave without saying goodbye to you."
Surprised by the overwhelming disappointment he immediately felt. The fact that she'd come by just to say goodbye to him didn't even register. "Goodbye? Where are you going?" The sparkle in her eyes faded a little, and she cleared her throat, but then smiled again and shook her head.
"It's a long story. I'm going to go live with my grandparents up north now."
"But you just moved here," he insisted. After his suspension, a few months ago, he'd come back to school to find out she and her boyfriend, who Hector now knew as Heido, had broken up. But it was weeks before Hector's dumb ass began considering the possibility of getting to know her a bit better. There'd been something about those haunting dark eyes of hers that had made him put it off for too long. Lisa lifted a shoulder.
"Like I said, it's a long story. Maybe someday I can tell you about it in an email or something. But for now, I just wanted to say goodbye."
Loud cackles brought Hector's attention back to the guys heckling Walter. He turned just in time to see them all rush into the main building, and he hoped that maybe that meant a teacher would see them.